Hello.
Bekzod, how are you?
Good, good. Finally.
Yeah,
Good work.
welcome to the show.
Thank you. Appreciate it. How you doing?
I'm doing very well. So are you in Tashkent right now?
Yeah, I'm back home. Can you hear me?
Yeah, sorry, it cut out, but you're back.
Yes. Yeah, I'm back
All
home.
right, so
I'm in
please
Tashkent.
go ahead.
I'm in
And
Tashkent.
how long have you been there? Was it from COVID that you went to Tashkent, or were you
No,
there
I
before?
I supposed to compete in the Asian Championship to qualify for Olympics. So that was the end of March. So I flew back March 8th, and then everything shut down on March 15th. So since then, I'm stuck in Tashkent.
And you do train in Pennsylvania as well. So when they closed down, you just made the decision to stay back?
No, because I couldn't fly back. Our government shut down Uzbekistan, whole country. So like there was zero flights out of Tashkent to anywhere. You know what I mean? So I was like, I was stuck here.
So do you have a set date for when you're gonna look to come back?
No, I'm waiting for that because the international flights hasn't started yet. So
Yeah.
I'm hopefully next month, hopefully July. There's some rumors. They're saying everything will open in July, mid-July sometime. I'm
And
crossing
have
my
you had a
fingers.
good, yeah, have you had a good training situation while you've been there?
Yeah, my coach, he has a gym at his house, so I've been training at his house. So I'm luckily I have one good partner my weight around my weight. So what he has like a mat fits like one or two partners. So we're training at his house twice a day, every day almost.
Well, let's, before we get into all that, we'll eventually get to your training situation and what you're going to do for the Asian Olympic qualifier and all that. But let's start back. I always like to uh, start the show with giving our viewers a little bit about yourself. So trying to figure out why you got into wrestling, how old you were, who inspired you. So let's start there. How old were you when you got into wrestling, and who got you into wrestling?
So I was like 8 years old. My older brother also wrestles. I have two brothers, and both of them used to be a wrestler. So my oldest one is a coach right now. He's my coach also. So he used to wrestle, and then he would drag me to practice. As a kid, I don't want to wrestle, to be honest. I want to play and do some nonsense stuff with my little friends, you know what I mean? And 2001 in Tashkent, there was a junior world championship in my hometown. So my brother wrestled, and he made it to finals. So I was there, I was watching, and I was there to watch every match. So I was like, I was there to witness whole thing. So I was super excited. Like, how he was winning and the people were cheering because it was in my hometown. Like all my friends, look, that's your brother wrestling and all that stuff. So I was getting excited. After that tournament, after that world championship, I got excited to wrestle. So I couldn't wait to go back to practice and train. Since then, I started like training, like, seriously, more seriously. So it was because of my brother.
And that was in 2001, you said?
2000, yes.
So it comes full circle. Let's talk about your first world championships. It was actually in Tashkent in 2014 on the senior level.
Yes.
So you end up, and that was when you were still down at 70 kilos, correct?
Yeah, at the time I was 70 because my weight wasn't, big enough.
And you end up taking a bronze medal. So let's start there. Coming in, you're coming into the Uzbekistan lineup, you grab a bronze medal in front of your home crowd. What was that like?
I mean, it was blessing, to be honest. It was like, because I was away for so long, because I went to states. I went to college and university. I was studying. I was wrestling over there because I was doing the NCAA, and then 2014 I was done. So this is what happened. The reason I started wrestling again, before I was like in the middle, my weight was around 70 kilos. So I was too big for 65 kilos and I was too small for 74 kilos at the time. So I was doing MMA.
Yes.
I've been doing MMA at the time. I was fighting at 70 kilos and then they add 70 kilos for freestyle also. So I was right there. So I was like, I decided, I talked to my brother and was like, let's wrestle, because my weight's like, they add my weight. So I don't have to lose too much weight. I don't have to go up weight. You know what I mean? So it was 70 kilos right weight. Plus 2014 World Championship was in Tashkent. So it was like, we talked to our coach back home here. He was at the time, he was a head coach. So like, hey, what do you think if I come down and wrestle? It's like, okay, you can't come down, but you have to do wrestle off with the number one guys. I said, no problem. So I came down 2014 in the summertime. So I did the wrestle off with number one guys, and then I beat them, and then I made the lineup.
And you end up getting that bronze medal, but what did that do for your confidence? Because you go into the tournament and you're relatively unknown on the international level and you pick up a bronze medal, but what did that do for your notoriety in Uzbekistan as one of the top guys?
I mean, definitely boost my confidence and put me in a different level. I mean, I was ready too, because I've been training for so long with all the top guys in the United States. It's not like this was new to me, you know what I mean? Because I was competing all the time in the States, like doing a bunch of matches. So I was ready for this. It was just the right time, and it was a good opportunity for me to just jump in. So which I did. And then it opened up even more doors for me, which is nice.
2015, you miss out on a medal, but let's move to 2016, the Rio Olympics. You end up becoming an Olympian and this close to picking up a medal at the Rio Olympic Games. You end up in 5th place. But when I ask fans for questions for you on our social media channels, of course, the number one thing and arguably the biggest match of your career is when you defeated Jordan BURROUGHS. And when I do these interviews, there's questions that I have to ask and questions that I want to ask. And this is one of those questions that you have to ask. When I'm talking to you, your 11-1 win over Jordan BURROUGHS, let's talk about that. Going into the match, what was your mindset like?
So before the Olympics, I was training for all the top guys. And one of the guys was Jordan BURROUGHS. So I was prepared to compete against him. Because with my coach, with my brother, like we were training almost every day to specific guys. Because we picked like 5 or 6 guys that most likely we're going to see them at the Olympics. And they're one of the guys that who might going to win the Olympics. You know what I mean? Top guys. So I was training for him, and I was also training for BURROUGHS. So I was ready. So
oh, please go ahead.
No, I was just saying. So I mean, mentally I was ready. You know, with guys like that, with top guys, it doesn't matter how good. Like you can be in one of the best shapes in the world or in your career. If you're not ready mentally, it's not gonna work. You know what I mean? Like everybody's almost mentally, physically prepared for Olympics. There's no like whoever made it to Olympics, they are physically in tremendous shape. But it comes down to mental toughness, like how you prepare yourself to compete against top guys.
And you shut down in that match. When you look back to that match, you shut down one of the most offensive wrestlers. And you not only was your defense, that's what I think that's often overlooked in that match is you picked up 5 takedowns. And a lot of people will talk about your offensive mindset during that match, but defensively, you shut down the most offensive wrestler, who arguably the most feared offensive wrestler at that time. So from a defensive standpoint, were you happy with that? When was the goal to not give up a takedown? Because you were stingy in that match.
My goal was to wrestle for every position. I don't want to give him a start because he's so fast that if he starts picking up points, a lot of people in trouble. So I don't want to give him that chance that I was going to go there and wrestle with him. You know what I mean? I wasn't going to back down. I was not going to wait for him because a lot of guys lose to him whenever they wait for him because he's so fast. He fakes and he shoots. He fakes and people like freezes, and then that's how he takes people down. So I was not going to do that. So I was like going after him to score points. So that helped me a lot. That mentality, like going forward.
And you end up you fall in the bronze medal match to Hassanov of Azerbaijan. But what did you learn about yourself after that? I mean, top 5 at the Olympic Games is something that you should be proud of, but I'm sure you've got to the point where you're at now, not hanging your hat on a 5th place finish. So what did you learn about yourself after the Rio Olympic Games?
I learned that, you know, like you cannot just, like certain matches, like sometimes I maybe like slow down in like matches like for bronze. I cannot stop. Like I have to just go for every match and just wrestle all the way through. You know what I mean? I cannot be like thinking. Sometimes we get too excited or like too overwhelmed about this like big matches. So for myself, like I shouldn't be thinking that. You know what I mean? I shouldn't be thinking, oh, this is for the bronze. I should just go and just wrestle like a regular match.
And you've been so consistent through the years. We talked about you're a 2-time world bronze medalist. You've taken 5th place now at the Olympic Games and the World Championships. But you're often overlooked. Do you feel that way when people talk about the likes of Zaurbek Sidikov, Frank Chamizo, Jordan BURROUGHS? They rarely throw Bekzod Abdurakhmonov in that conversation. Do you ever look at that and wonder why?
I'm not sure. I mean, I don't care. Like, there is a lot of guys, like, they're showmen. You know what I mean? Like, they make more shows. And I don't do that. Like, I just do my thing. I train and, you know, just go compete. Maybe I do, maybe. But I don't get, again, maybe I do get overlooked, but I don't care. I mean, I will still do what I'm capable of. Like, I will still compete. I will still try to train with those guys, like compete against those guys.
And what would you say to the young wrestlers out there who may not get the notoriety, the social media tags, all that stuff? What would you say to those young guys out there who are good, but everyone else doesn't think they're good?
I mean, just prove them wrong. Just train hard, do your thing, everything will come. Like, don't over try. Like, you know, there are some athletes, they try too hard to be public. I tell you, those young guys, like, just do your thing and then just train hard, compete hard, everything will come.
Let your competing on the mat speak for itself.
Exactly. I think that's the best one.
And I said this last episode, I often forget about fan questions, and I'm going to start doing them in the middle of the show rather than after. So we asked fan questions for you, and I didn't know this about you. I didn't know that you were competing in MMA, so I went back and I watched your fights. So we'll start here. CEO of Paper Towel asks, when will you fight in MMA again, or will you not?
No, I would like to fight. But the thing is, my goal, I mean, I don't know how it's going to work out, but I want to be an active fighter, same time active wrestler. Nobody has done it. Maybe after this show, maybe someone will try to do it. But I want to try to do that. Like, I want to be fighting plus wrestling and see how it works. But I'm not done. I'm not done with wrestling yet.
Now, what are your aspirations for wrestling? What is your ultimate goal? When this is all said and done, you want to look back and say, what did you want to achieve?
As an athlete, I think for wrestling, our highest goal is Olympics.
Mm-hmm.
No, Olympics is good. Olympic medal is good, but I want to be good role model for younger generation. You know what I mean? After I'm done, if younger guys like look up to me and it's like, hey, I want to be like them. It's not about like winning or losing. It's about who we are. You know what I mean? Hopefully, I'll be good role model for younger guys.
And I can tell you have been. From the questions that we received and the comments on the social media posts, you do have a lot of fans. I'll tell you that, and a lot of people really respect you and look up to you. So you have done that.
Good. I'm glad.
Can you talk about the ultimate goal being the Olympic Games? Before we get there, I want to jump back to the 2019 World Championships. That was the most recent World Championships. You win your first 2 matches. You start off with Franklin Gomez, of course, and you and Franklin train together, correct?
Not even train. We live in the same house.
You live in the same house, and Franklin was actually on the show a couple of weeks ago. But let's talk about that. You fly all the way to Kazakhstan to wrestle your roommate.
Yeah,
What's that like?
that stinks, to be honest.
It
I mean,
does.
Frank is one of the best guys I know. He's a best roommate, best training partner. But to be honest, it sucks to like train so long and then compete in the same, not even the finals, not even the semifinals, in the first match. Like
First round.
to be honest, I was disappointed. But again, it was an Olympic qualification. I still had to compete against him 100%. You know,
Was there ever a discussion like before you guys headed out there? Like, we could wrestle. Did you ever talk about that?
we have, but we didn't. Well, as a joke, yeah. What happens if we wrestle? It's like, well, we're just gonna wrestle. You know what I mean? Because we wrestle every day in practice. But it actually happened. It's like, it's kind of sad, to be honest.
And so you beat Franklin, then Garzon, you win your second match. Moving to your third match, Kazmirad Gadzhiev of Azerbaijan, extremely young, relatively inexperienced on the senior level, but he picks up the win against you. That match, you started out 4-0, and you came back and you tied it 7-7, and you still trailed on criteria, but you gave up that 4. So you started the match giving up a 4 and ended the match giving up the 4. When you look back on that match, what would you have changed?
There's a few things that I made like big mistake. First one was like the fireman carry is like out of nowhere. Like I guess maybe I was too sleepy. Maybe I was thinking ahead of like other matches. You know what I mean? After that, I was supposed to wrestle Burroughs or a couple other guys, even better guys. Maybe I was thinking them, and I didn't think about him too much. And then I give up 4, and I came back, and I give up 4 again. I was just like, I was wrestling as like a kid. I was panicking for some reason. You know what I mean? That was my mistake. That was my big mistake I made. Like, hopefully I won't do that again.
So you did learn from those 2 mistakes, though?
Yeah. Yes, definitely I did. Big time.
And now what that did was that put you in the situation where you have to head to the Asian Olympic qualifiers in Xi'an, China to try and qualify Uzbekistan for the weight. The good part about that is Okui and Kaisanov already qualified through the World Championships. So those 2 guys are out. But when you look at the list of nations that haven't qualified, you have Mongolia. I'm not sure who they'll send. You have to imagine Bahrain will send Adam Batirov. Iran hasn't qualified, neither has India. So who are you looking for? You mentioned at the Olympic Games you were preparing for guys who you thought had the potential to win. So for this Asian Olympic qualifier, who are guys that you're training for?
I mean, I'm training for all of them right now because I don't know who's gonna be there. You know what I mean? Like 1 year, like we still have plenty of time to, you know, a lot of things can change in this time. So like I'm just training in general right now, and then closer to qualification, I will know who's gonna send, and so I will like start like making plans to each guy.
And how does your qualification process work through Uzbekistan? Since you were the world team representative, do you have the automatic berth to that Asian Olympic qualifier, or will you have to go through another wrestle-off process?
And no, I don't think so. Not for Olympic qualification. I will be there. I will go there. But for some reason, if I don't qualify, maybe for second one, I will have some wrestle-offs.
And so ideally you want to qualify. Ideally you want to qualify to the Asian qualifier. We'll just say you qualify. Well, hypothetically speaking, we'll put you as a qualifier for the Olympic Games in 2020. Let's talk about that. Your journey to the Olympic Games in 2016 to 2020. What did you learn back in 2016 that you can hopefully carry into 2020? Or excuse me, 2021 now.
Yeah, 2021. So I will train. I mean, I will try to. I mean, I will still train same thing, same way. but I would add more things, but I will still train the same way. And then you see, like right now, it's hard to tell. It's hard to tell how I'm gonna train because I still have a long time, because I cannot be training in a high pace for this long period of time. I guess if I qualify, then I will have to pick the guys, the top, let's just say top 10 guys. And I will scout them out, and I will watch their matches and film, and then see what they do, what can I do, and then I will just, I will train more tactically, closer to Olympics, because hypothetically, like top 10 guys, within this top 10, any of them can win the Olympics, or place, or do well. So you will start picking wrestlers and then start slowly train for them. And that's what I always do.
For those top 10 guys, if there's somebody who you would have an opportunity to wrestle, say you want a super match that you would create, you versus somebody else, someone either that you haven't wrestled, someone in another weight class, who would that be?
Let's see. I probably would like to wrestle Chimizo, because he's one of the best guys in the world. So I never get the chance to wrestle. I compete in Georgia a couple times in the Grand Prix, and Chimizo was in the other side, and I was on this side. I never get the chance to wrestle with him. So I would like to.
And that's a guy that. Yeah, that's a guy that you have to get your hands on really to feel, because he's so unorthodox, and you don't know his hips. You could watch tape on him for hours and hours, but then until you get on the mat, you don't know how you're going to react when you're thrown in those situations.
Exactly, 100%. I would like to get a chance. I would like to wrestle with him before the Olympics. Olympics is different. I want to get the feel. So you see, you watch films and you train for them. It's different than when you actually wrestle with them and then prepare for them, because you know how strong they are, you know how fast they are, you know how how they get tired. Maybe they don't get tired. Plans for different wrestlers, but if you get your hands on them, that's different.
And we're running out of time here, so let's wrap this up with the after you finish your career, what are you looking to do? What will your life look like 10 years down the road? What are you hoping to do after your wrestling career?
Hopefully, maybe coach, but more. I would be. I think I will get into business with my brothers. Some kind of business.
What type of business?
They're in a real estate business right now, but maybe after I'm done, maybe I'll coach for a little bit, get into business.
Can you say that one more time? It cut out.
I was saying, I'll probably, once I'm done, I will coach for a little bit and then get into business with my brothers. So I want to have family business.
We'll throw a couple fan questions in here. Notorious Iranian says, what are your thoughts about wrestling Hassan Yazdani?
Pretty good. I mean, he's tough. He's very good.
You would like an opportunity?
I've wrestled with him one time. I wrestled with him when I was 70 kilos. So I have a feeling. Yazdani is good. He's I would like to wrestle again sometime, but I got to get a little bigger.
And I think you already answered this. You said hopefully within the next month, but Jane Valencia, of course, one of your training partners, says, when are you coming back to the Nittany Lion Wrestling Club?
Hopefully very soon. Hopefully. I mean, if it was my choice, I would go right now. But I can't. Hopefully next month.
And this is one of my questions as a fan question, Dake or Burroughs?
To be honest, Dake keeps saying he's getting younger. I think by the time next year Dake and Burroughs wrestle, I think Dake will be like a little kid. So he's getting younger every day. Remember he said? I think he will be like a little kid. So I think Burroughs gonna win.
Burroughs? Okay, great. Well, that's all the time we have for today. The floor is yours. Please tell everyone where they can follow you on social media. And if you have any words of encouragement for the fans during these tough times, it's all yours.
I mean, they can follow me on Instagram. For all the people, stay home, be safe, stay out of trouble, and be good. That's my...
And make sure everyone is following United World Wrestling on all social media channels. That's Twitter, Instagram, Facebook. Subscribe on YouTube. We want to congratulate Hassan Yazdani for winning the Fantasy Freestyle Tournament over the weekend. We have top 5 Turkish wrestlers that just came out today. Top 5 Azerbaijan wrestlers will be coming out shortly. In addition to that, we have a women's wrestling fantasy draft, and we'll also have a Greco-Roman fantasy draft. Upcoming guests on UWW Live are going to be Taha Agul, Frank Chamizo, Isalu Tynebekova, Zauerbek Sidikov, and Grace Boland. You can catch all of those in the coming weeks. I've been Eric Olanowski. He's been Bekzod Abdurakhmonov. Bekzod, thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Take care.
Yep.